Welcome to Study with the Best, the magazine show that's all about CUNY. I'm Tina Beth Pena. On today's episode, we'll focus on CUNY food stories. We'll meet 3 young chefs making their mark on the culinary world, go foraging for food, and visit the iconic Economy candy store. First up, the sweet, sinful sight and smell of authentic French pastry. Abandon all hopes of sticking to your diets because we're going traveling.
This is the stage before, and this is the baby stage where it's just the dough waiting to rise.
They rise early in Englewood, New Jersey, and at Patisserie Florentine, they make plenty of dough.
My name is Tomar Zilkha. I'm from Israel. I'm a pastry chef. Actually, maybe a restaurateur at this point. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm always good to be here.
Patisserie is a full dining experience, but you will find probably one of the best, if not the best, brunch in Bergen County, according to reviewers, not my words. The Crazy House is right here. Welcome to Patisserie Florentine's kitchen. We got the hotline here. My sous chef is over there, Johan, right now. And we have a couple of ovens here from New Zealand, which have a steam injection and a bidirectional fan that helps the pastries be flaky, especially the croissants. And you can see those beautiful croissants that were baked. We bake them every hour. We're known for the almond croissant and generally the viennoiserie, which is Viennoise pastries. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we do a very light brunch service. Throughout the week, weekdays, it's more of a lunch crowd. 12 to 2 would be the busiest time. In the morning, we have more of the baked goods and coffee that we sell to go. So we have a roaster in South Jersey. We use a blend that mainly comes from South America, but we also maintain the latte art and the production of making coffee. Anything with
wait for the grinding machine.
Yes, everything is fresh here. It's either the grinder or the mixer. Or the yeah, it's fine. It's funny. I was 24, just finished my military service in Israel, and I traveled in South America for 7 months. I arrived here in 2004, and I didn't really know what I wanted to study. My wife I met 6 months after I arrived, and we've been 10 years together now. We have a 14-month-old baby.
That's Tomer's wife Amy and their son Tristan. But let's backtrack a bit. Tomer was bartending, trying to decide on a career, when a friend said,
"What do you like doing?" And I said, "Well, I just like baking with my grandma. I like that."
Tomer took a dishwashing job at Veselka, a restaurant in the East Village. He observed the pastry chefs and worked his way up to apprentice baker. When he got serious about becoming a pastry chef himself, he enrolled at BMCC.
Daisy, by the way, is also going to Borough of Manhattan Community College. Because of who?
Because of Tomer.
Tomer continued his education at City Tech and earned a Bachelor of Technology degree in Hospitality Management.
This is something I wanted to show you. This is my City Tech shirt. It used to be white. That's from the competition at the Jacob Javits Center. And I still wear it until today.
Tomer's professors took note of his talent.
I ended up in France through City Tech, which I'm so grateful for. My professors kind of pushed me to do that. It was a great experience in Alsace, which is on the border of Germany and Switzerland. I learned a lot and became later on a pastry chef, but it was a great experience.
A great restaurant.
Thank you.
Patisserie Florentine is so popular, Tomer can't accommodate all the customers.
We try to alleviate that pressure that we have by opening another store, which is 2 doors down.
That's right, it's POACHED, super fast superfoods for people in a hurry. Tomer says it attracts a corporate clientele.
There used to be a coffee shop there when we were still open here, and then they left. So we saw it as an opportunity to create a quick to-go place.
And with 2 businesses and a wife, son, and home in Englewood, New Jersey, Tomer still finds time to teach at Bergen Community College.
I'm an adjunct professor there at the moment. I'm teaching 2 classes, baking, introduction to baking. And I can say that I'm taking a lot of my experience from City Tech because I remember so much the great professors and the structure of the class. And I'm able to share that, and I always liked sharing knowledge. It's definitely gratifying and fulfilling.
Barry Mitchell, study with the best.
Where can you forage for food in New York, and what can you learn from it? For Ava Chin, it has a lot to do with her personal life.
You can't walk across the College of Staten Island without finding something. Dandelion greens and plantain, Japanese knotweed. My campus is just a giant salad. All good mushroom hunters like to keep their mushroom spot secret because the mushrooms come back at the same point year after year, depending on the right season. So I'm not going to show you exactly where we're going to be going. These are hen of the woods or maitake mushrooms. The Latin name is Grifola frondosa, and they're one of the best mushrooms for the fall. I've seen them upwards of $40 a pound in high-end grocery stores. It's one of my favorite delectable mushrooms. I started writing the Urban Forager column for the New York Times in 2009. And I couldn't tell the full story of why I loved these wild edibles in just a 700-word blog post for the New York Times. And so what I needed to do was to write a book, and that became Eating Wildly. I didn't start really foraging in earnest until many years later when I had basically hit a moment of crisis. My maternal grandmother, who was the woman who helped raise me, was basically reaching the end of her life. I'd broken up with somebody that I thought I was going to get married to, and there was something really comforting to know that I could find things that would sustain me, that I could actually eat, things that I could gather by my own hands. With foraging, you can't have your own ideas of what it is that you want to find. If you take a walk and you keep your vision open, a lot of the times what you actually find is better than what you were originally looking for. And there's something really meditative about foraging. We're coming up on honey mushrooms. These mushrooms right now are past their prime, but when they're young and fresh and very tender, they're pretty tasty. My grandfather was the main person who cooked. And like a lot of Chinese people, he believed that your food is your medicine. So that means that the quality of your ingredients has to be the best. He taught me about herbs that were good for headaches, herbs that were good for women. And for me, finding things that my grandfather used to cook with, it makes me feel like I'm still in my grandfather's kitchen. Wild edibles are actually higher in phytonutrients than the plants and the vegetables that we get cultivated. That's because as human beings, we've tended to breed for flavor and benign sweetness. And we've tended to try to take out the bitter constituents in a vegetable that are the same things that make it really good for you. First thing I always tell anybody who wants to learn how to forage is that they have to go out with an expert, somebody who really knows what's edible and what's a potentially poisonous look-alike. And after that, I like to supplement with great guidebooks. There is a foraging app that helps you to identify wild edible plants. So you want to forage in areas that are away from traffic, away from city streets, places that are fairly pristine, slightly wooded, places where they don't throw down weed killers, so places kind of like a CUNY campus. It's actually illegal to forage in the parks. A lot of the edible weeds that are growing around us are the same plants that the Parks Department are actually trying to weed out. So if Parks Department would just tell foragers, we would like this taken out, it would be a lot better than, let's say, laying down herbicides or pesticides that enter our ecosystem and stay within the environment. I teach creative writing classes, and I teach literature that pertains to food. And food in narratives is never just about food, right? It's always about something more than that. It's about sustenance. For me, it's about family connections. And also, as a forager, it's about that wonderful feeling of being able to provide for myself as well as for my family. I'm actually third generation CUNY. For me, it's a thrill to be able to give back by, teaching here at the College of Staten Island and working with young writers and mentoring them.
A City Tech student from Venezuela with a love of cooking and Korean barbecue won over the taste buds of the city's Korean food critics at the Global Taste of Korea, the world's largest Korean cooking competition, where chefs put their own cultural spin on Korean food.
Korean and Latin food are a match made in heaven because you can play with the ingredients and you're gonna have really a good mix at the end. The food is not much different because the concept of the food, Latin and Korean, is to share and to make people happy. Latin food is vibrant, it has a lot of colors and it's fun. And the same thing that I discovered is that Korean, they add that to their food. Like they have that colorful plate and the table has to be colorful. So it's like a really good combination. The dish that I'm gonna prepare is a fusion between Korean and Latin food. First, I'm gonna make the bulgogi, which is the Korean barbecue. And I'm gonna use green plantains and avocado, which is big for a lot of Latin countries, especially for us. I'm from Venezuela, and we use these ingredients mostly every day. Can you smell it? Okay. So we're doing this just to make it a little creamy. It's not a guacamole. It's just a creamy avocado, just lemon or lime.
다른 한쪽에서는 그린 플라테인, 스페인어로는 플라타노죠. 이 요리용 바나나를 기름에 튀겨서.
I never wanted to compete before. Never thought I was going to win. I wanted just to go for the experience and to have fun cooking my dish that I created. It was my baby. But I was fortunate enough to win the first place.
Marjorie, Silva.
And winning the competition here is what gave me the opportunity to travel to Korea. New York was the preliminaries, and the final competition, semi-final and final, was going to be in Korea. Once there, I was competing with 15 people from other countries around the world, and we had the opportunity to go to the semi-finals, and 5 people were selected to the final. It was a great opportunity to be there. It was a learning experience, and it changed my life. I had the honor to meet the Korean president here in New York. She made an appearance at the Korean Cultural Center, and she gave us the honor, me and another 15 people, to be honored as a Korean cultural patron in New York. And we are the first ones to receive such an honor. So it was a really important day for me. As a Korean patron, we have to promote not just culture, but also food, technology, and more people visiting, either here in Koreatown as also in Korea. Every event that is being held here in New York, I'm part of it. I go, I learn, and probably one day I'm gonna be able to just like give classes about Korean and Latin food. And the final touch. Buen provecho.
Hi, I'm Laura Fuchs. Maybe you haven't tasted any of Chef Bryan Lindsay's culinary creations, but this City Tech grad is going to be popping up all over town soon. Chef Bryan Lindsay has a fierce passion for cooking and is paving new ways to do what he loves.
I want to do something different. I want to do different events that people would be more inclined to learning about food, to appreciating food on a different level. So in July, I did a rosé and wine pairing.
On top of his busy schedule working as a sous chef in a premier kosher supermarket, Bryan uses his Saturdays off to organize and host monthly pop-ups where people come to taste his culinary creations. Through this unconventional approach, he hopes to spread the word about his growing business, UMAMI Savory.
In September, I did a Brooklyn boil. And a Brooklyn boil is a combination of a low country boil, which you would have in the South, and a New England clam bake. So just taking two of those and combining them together and giving it with kind of like a Brooklyn feel. And it was in somebody's backyard in Fort Greene. So we had shrimp, we had clams, we had lobster, we had crab, we had potatoes, corn, sausage, compound butters with bread. We had peach sangria.
We followed him to his most recent pop-up called Tackle Your Turkey.
A lot of people complain about turkey's too dry or has no flavor, but they don't know the method behind the madness. And this is a class also and a tasting where I will show you how to make a moist, succulent turkey for your Thanksgiving.
Bryan shows guests how to prepare 4 different types of turkey. One he calls the plain Jane, next the herbaceous style, a smoked mesquite, and a honey walnut.
A lot of people don't like turkey, stay away from turkey because they say, oh, it's too dry. The reason why it's too dry is because you overcook the white meat. There's white meat and dark meat. The dark meat is the legs and thighs of the turkey. The more you use a certain muscle, the tighter it gets. So when you actually cook it, it takes a longer process to break down the muscle fibers so it becomes, tender. So people always overcook the white meat, which has little connective tissues.
And cooks faster.
There you go. So if you're trying to cook both of the dark meat and white meat at the same time, you're going to fail. So that's the reason behind the screw-ups.
Guests ask questions, and once the demo's finished, he moves them to an elegantly set table where he presents all 4 flavors of turkey for them to sample.
So it's a combination, yes, a tasting and a class together.
Chef Bryan's not just interested in new and bold flavors. He's also looking to change the business model of tasty food preparation.
I always got people telling me, oh, you should go to culinary school, or that food was really great, Bryan. You should open up a restaurant. But I really don't see myself owning a restaurant. It's too much of a headache, and just a gamble. There's so many restaurants out there to compete with that. I'm not thinking that my food is not as good as the next man's, but I would say I would want to gear somewhere else, like to personal chef, like weddings, doing different types of events, throwing events, pop-ups. That's more kind of my speed because I could be more creative.
So clearly, Chef Bryan Lindsay is living proof that cooking can not only add spice to your life, but can be a creative, fulfilling, lifelong career. For Study with the Best, I'm Laura Fuchs.
Since the 1930s, if you have a sweet tooth in Manhattan, there's only one place to go. Ari Goldberg takes us on a visit to a Lower East Side institution, Economy Candy.
Economy Candy has been on the Lower East Side since 1937. Started out as a shoe and hat repair shop. Used to sell candy outside on a pushcart. Little by little, when times were tough, they started selling more candy and people were coming in to get their shoes fixed. Little by little, my grandfather came back from the war and we had economy candy. You know, it's real life Willy Wonka and we love it.
This is going to be such an exciting day. I hope you enjoy it. I think you will.
Oh, I will, Mr. Wonka. I will.
There's hundreds of things on here. Zagnuts, Fifth Avenue. Oh, thank you. Sixlets. Sixlets. Juji fruits?
Yeah, please, thank you.
There you go.
What we got?
And we got lemon heads, Tootsie Rolls, Nerds, and then like we were talking about before.
Do you do all your interviews while reading candy?
I prefer.
I haven't had a pixie stick in 15 years, but now I'm having that. Now I don't think I'm going to be ever able to do
Exactly.
an
You go home with a box.
No.
And that's what economy candy's always been about. Rediscovering these little joys of childhood, ever since Mitchell Cohen's grandfather Morris founded it.
The Lower East Side was totally different back in the day. There were tenements, there was millions of immigrant families that used to come in, came in from all over the world. There was 7 different candy shops, and we're the last old school candy store in the neighborhood. You have to maintain the same culture and atmosphere than we used to have back in the 30s, because that's what people remember, the old school candy shops. You know, everyone has a different memory of their corner candy shop when they walk in. We try to be an amalgamation of all that. You know, you're going to find everything from your childhood, your parents are going to find things from their childhood, and your grandparents are going to amazingly still find things from their childhood.
The man is not lying.
1986 Wacky Packs, 1987 baseball cards, all the old cards with the gum.
I should
don't
not
eat
the gum.
Don't eat the gum. Okay. Don't eat the gum. It's just as bad as it was in '87.
This is my favorite store ever. President Pez. McKinley, you are delicious.
They quite literally have everything. Comic books, gumball machines, candies you didn't know existed outside your grandma's candy dish.
They sell M&Ms by the individual color. I didn't know that is a thing that happens. They got Band-Aids made of chocolate. Chocolate Band-Aids is a product somebody made as something to sell. This place is incredible.
Everything that's made anymore, we have it. You're not just going to find a basic, Kit Kat bar. You're going to find the Kit Kat bar imported from England that's peanut butter flavored or caramel flavored, things that you can't get anywhere else. We have over 2,000 varieties of candies and chocolates in the store, and to be able to recommend it, you have to try every one.
So have you tried every single piece of candy in this whole store?
I'd say I'm a little over 90%. The black licorice isn't my favorite, but you gotta try it to be able to talk about it. We really like to branch out and try different things. You have to keep it new. As much as we have all the old school candies, old school chocolates, when new trends come around, right now bacon is a trend, and there's bacon candy, bacon pop rocks, gummy bacon, and you know what? It sells. And it's fun and it's different, so it's now to economy candy.
Can we try some of this bacon candy?
Bacon candy, let's see, that's terrible.
I trust him. The man's been doing it since he was a child.
This was the one snack I was allowed growing up. After lunch, that's what I could have, is a pack of Sour Paris.
So your parents owned a candy store, but would limit what you could have?
Oh, I'd be huge. I wouldn't be able to fit in the door. You've got my grandfather and my dad back on the old corner store. Then you've got me and my dad at the new store, the current store that we moved here in 1985. And then that's the 3 of us. And that's me and my mom, the Queens graduate.
Upon graduating Queens College, Mitch's mom, Eileen, carried on the tradition of the family with her husband, Jerry Cohen. And as of 2013, they passed that legacy on to Mitch.
I do feel a responsibility to the store, to my family, and to the Lower East Side. We're one of the few remaining businesses left down here. If you open up a guidebook, where to go, you got to go to economy candy. So, you have to adapt with the times. So we have a lot of people who are displaced New Yorkers who moved out, and they were calling us, I need the candy, I need my fix, I got to get it. So we started with the website, we started shipping to them, and we get people from Montana who are throwing a baby shower and need 100 pounds of pink candy. Shop online, we'll send it right out to you.
So you're a pusher?
Yeah, candy pusher. My, elementary school yearbook, when they had the little thing, what do you want to be when you grow up? I had candy store owner. One of the few, I think, that turned out all right.
No. I'm Ari Goldberg for Study with the Best. I'll see you down at Economy Candy.
That's our show for today. For more information on any of our stories, log on to our website at CUNY.TV or check out our Study with the Best Facebook page. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.